And he says, well, if you knew how to run your effing depositions.
They bully us because we're girls.
The old Cristina would have punched him in his throat. The court reporter was like, looked like her jaw was about to drop. This would not have happened if I was a man.
Pressure is one thing, confrontation is another. Erica Gelfand and Cristina Perez Hesano talk about what happens when it gets real. Today on Verdicts and Vogue.
Well, I always say, like, with vehicle collisions, right, if you don't have the knowledge or the know-how, insurance companies are there to take advantage.
Oh, they're totally.
Especially
even our own
cases.
Insurance companies are not
first party,
there.
yeah. And third party, forget about it. I just had a conversation with an adjuster the other day, and he was like, well, this is a first party case, which means when you use your own insurance. And so we treat it differently. And so I want to give them the benefit of the doubt. And I'm like, it was not, if it was a third party case and, you know, gloves are off. And that's how when he said that, I was like, that's how they treat people.
That's how you treat people. Yeah.
And so majority of my practice is Spanish speaking.
Okay.
I would say 50% to 70% higher. So they're saying about 70%. They keep all the numbers. I really talk about a village.
They know everything.
Yeah, these two women have me like planned and locked in.
Now.
Yeah. And so, I mean, I always say we are the voice, and I tell all of our team, we are the voice that people don't have, right? So if someone doesn't know or isn't experienced, we're supposed to be there to help them. Yeah. Whether it's a, fender bender to a catastrophic injury. Right. And we handle a variety of cases this day and age. And we also handle bankruptcy stuff. So I don't anymore.
And that's jarring for people too. That's quite a process. I mean, honestly, now, and that's what I realized was starting with PI. I think I was just so one-track mind, but any area of law, they need, people need our help. That's what they come to us for. So, and that's the part of practice that I love. But there's also not just helping the people, but, we're talking about this adjuster telling you gloves off for third-party claims. But I also approach even defense attorneys and adjusters. These are all people doing their jobs. And I get that, right? We're all here mixed together in this situation that sucks, a car accident that nobody wants to be in. And so I kind of treat adjusters kindly too. I try to treat, defense attorneys kindly. I'm like, if that's how you want to treat people, that's on you. Sure. But I just, it's this whole process that we're in together. So I just think it's important to help everyone in those situations.
So let's talk about that, because after our phone call.
Yes.
After our phone call.
About mean defense attorneys.
I actually went to Flagstaff to have look, they're laughing. They're laughing. I actually had a meeting about this earlier this week. I went to Flagstaff and I had a first party case, right? So we couldn't come to an agreement. We filed a claims practices case and breach of contract. And we start, deposing the underlying attorney who handled the case, because now they had separate counsel. And I go to Flagstaff, and these two guys are just, and they'll remain nameless, but they were the biggest dicks. And I say that, and you don't have to bleep it out because I don't care. They were the biggest dicks to me, to the point that I sat there taking the deposition of the underlying attorney, and he kept calling me incompetent. He kept calling me
to my face,
saying that I was the reason why that the case was delaying. It was so horrendous. He wouldn't even look me in the eye. I was sitting right in front of him, wouldn't look me in the eye. I actually lost my cool. I typically don't. I usually laugh it off. I did lose my cool. After we were off the record, never lose your cool on the record.
No.
Because he cursed after we said, okay, let's take a break. I was like, let's take a break and come back. And he says, well, if you knew how to run your effing depositions.
Oh my God. The gall.
And
the crazy part is, would he ever say that to another male?
I don't know, but he was.
I don't know. That's what bothers me. I'm like, I feel like they bully us because we're girls. I don't know.
Well, at that point, I lost my cool and I kind of got up. I mean, I grew up in a different neighborhood than what I live in now.
Sure.
And so the old Cristina would have punched him in his throat.
Yeah.
The new Cristina, who is more zen.
Yeah, woosah.
Woosad. And, 45, thought, hey, that's not a good way to approach this. Yeah. I ended up taking a break, right? But at that point, It takes a lot to get me there. But then as soon as I stood up and said, he was cursing at me, calling me names and so forth. So as soon as I stood up and defended myself, then the other one came up and was like, hey, he goes, don't speak like that to my client, or I'm going to terminate this deposition. And I go, I've been listening to him call me incompetent.
Yeah, why can't he speak to you like that?
For the last hour. He just cursed at me and told me, learn how to do your effing. He's like, well, that's his testimony. He goes, we're going to terminate it. I go, okay, if you terminate it, I will call for sanctions, because you should control your client. Yeah. So it got really heated. Yeah. Right. And the court reporter looked like her jaw was about to drop. And the videographer who was there, because I videotape all my depositions, she was so mad as well, because of the way that they were treating. It was obvious how they were treating, to the point that they were treating, because sometimes oh, you're overreacting.
You're being sensitive.
You're a girl. You're being sensitive. You're being combative. Tell me why. So on this way, I have a driver, right? And so he drove me up to Flagstaff so that I can prepare on the way. And he sends me a text message, and it's a video recording. These two knuckleheads were talking about me
while you were out of the room,
in the bathroom, in the men's bathroom.
In the bath.
And it just so happened that Eric, who is the person who drove me there, and he's driven my family for years now, he actually recorded them, because he was like, are they talking about her? And they were saying all of these names about me, calling me the nastiest names and so forth. And I'm like, oh, look at that.
There we go.
So anyway, the point is that we finished the deposition.
Yeah.
We finished the deposition, and I end up getting into the car, and I never let them see me. Like, I think at that point I was just like, you know what? This would not have happened if I was a man.
No, it wouldn't have. I mean, I hate to be
male bash.
Yeah,
I know. Sorry with the guys that are in the room.
Sorry. So I had a similar experience over the summer and this was my first wrongful death case. Like, it was a big one, and for me, a big one. But we had, over the summer, I had scheduled the deposition of one of the defendants, and then also the 30B6 rep for the company. And
for those who don't know what a 30B6 rep, please explain.
It's just the representative. If you have a commercial defendant that you're bringing suit against, it's the commercial representative who speaks for the company, basically. Sure. And so we had those two depositions scheduled in one day, and they were all Zoom depos. I actually have learned how to litigate only on Zoom.
So, oh, really? I can't. I'm too old school for that.
I never had the in-person stuff. That's why now, because more stuff is starting to get scheduled in person now, and I'm like, wait, we have to show up? And I'm like, that's weird. But this was still Zoom, and we took a break from the depo. And I always turn my camera off and I mute myself, but I was just sitting there. And the attorney, I don't know if he didn't realize or forgot or whatever happened, but he did not mute himself, and he did not turn the camera off. He was just sitting there, and he was talking so much. Can I curse? He was talking so much shit about me, and just how she's young. She doesn't know what she's doing. We're going to be out of here really quick. Don't even worry. And she's not going to get any money out of us. Don't even worry. And then he was like, and she doesn't need to know that we have $200K in reserve. She won't know that. She's lucky if she'll get, 80,000. Don't worry. And I'm sitting there like, is anyone hearing this? Like, well, this is crazy.
And so, and you probably have a confidentiality clause, so you can't tell us what you settled for. No. But I'm going to bet that you settled for a lot more than 80,000.
Yes.
Good job, girl.
I did.
Good job.
And I I never, looking back, should I have handled it different? Should I have said something? I don't know. But
I think you handled the mature way.
I just kind of came back and I was like, I'm going to pretend I didn't hear any of that. And then one day you're going to feel like an asshole, because that was just not necessary.
So again, not male bashing, but I don't think people who are used to doing things a certain way don't realize how it affects other people.
Yeah. They don't have they don't go back and kind of have an introspective look at how they treated somebody. You're right, though. He's probably going to move on and never remember me ever again.
So congratulations on resolving your first wrongful death. That's a big step. Yeah. I mean, it's a milestone for you.
And now and that's kind of how I've approached my practice, because I've, like I said, I have this huge network of mentors, but I've been on my own since day one. Mm-hmm. And I just kind of throw myself head first in, and I'm like, all right, we'll figure it out, so. And I don't want to ever say I have a funny example, but one of my longtime immigration clients, I brought his whole family over here. And one time he came to me, he owns a company, and he said, can you help me apply for one of my employees? Mm-hmm. And employment-based immigration is a whole different
animal,
ball game animal. I've never done one before, but I was like, okay, I can do this. I think I can figure it out. And we're getting through the steps, and every time there's a little hiccup and I'm like, oh my God, this is it. I just ruined it. This guy's going to get deported. But then I fix it and it's fine. And we get to the end of it. And this guy, he's just a very close family friend. And he had invited my husband and I over for dinner for Christmas. And his girlfriend and I had a little bit to drink. And and I was feeling a little, looser. And I was like, you have no idea. I've never done one of these cases before. And he looked at me and he's like, Erica, at no point did I not believe in you. He's like, I don't even care. I almost knew that you hadn't done one of these before, but I knew that you would figure it out. And I did. He got his visa. We're all good. He can, get his green card here soon. So, but that's how I've kind of, with the wrongful death, when it first came to me, I'm like, whoa, this is way bigger than anything I've ever done. But others have figured it out, and I'm just as smart as others, so I can figure it out.
And I think that's one of the most important parts is you can't turn away an opportunity.
Right.
Right. Especially if it's an opportunity for growth.
Right.
Because that's what we're doing. The practice of law is just that. It's the practice of law.
Right.
Every day we should be learning something because it makes us better.
It's not just how much you make on that case, it's what am I learning? So now I can take more wrongful death cases and I won't shy away from them because I've done the one already. And, I kind of know how to do them. And that's how my litigation practice has grown. Because back in the day, I used to be petrified of filing suits.
Really?
Yeah, for some reason in my head, I thought as soon as you file, you have to go talk to the judge. And I'm like, no, I don't want to talk to anyone yet. And I remember my first case that I filed on, I was like, wait, the judge doesn't want to talk to us. Like, they don't even really care to talk to us for a while. We can just kind of.
It depends. Sometimes I'm in front of the judge a lot more than I want to be.
well, for the smaller ones, because I take mostly tier ones, you know, so they don't really see us that often. But every time I kind of get further in the process, I'm like, okay, because I remember my first deposition that I'd ever taken. I'd never taken one before, and I was freaking out that whole morning. I'm like, how am I going to do this? Oh my God. And I'm like sitting outside going over my notes. And then I used to be afraid of my ability to think on my feet, but I'm much better at it than I give myself credit for.
Yeah.
But even that first depo, once I get done with it, I'm like, oh, okay, I can do them now.
So with that, I mean, it's mentorship. I always find someone who can help or just kind of guide me. I always also incorporated on a lot of my bigger cases, not now, but when I first started, for the bigger cases that I was working on, I'd always incorporate a more seasoned attorney,
like co-counsel with them.
To co-counsel, and I have no problem. I rather work with someone who's experienced and make less money.
I'd even give up my fee to be able to sit with somebody and have them mentor me through it.
Yeah.
And I had one of my first bigger cases I took on. I actually, my mentor that I asked to jump on it with me, he's an attorney in New Mexico. He's not even here, so we had to do a pro hoc vice for him to come in. And I really appreciated how he did it because he would force me to do things. He was like, we've got depositions coming up. I'm like, cool, you could do them, right? And he's like, no, you're doing them. And then he would make me do, I argued the summary judgment and he forced me to do everything. And I remember at the time, like, why are you doing this? I brought you in to help me.
So, and that's valuable because it makes you do it. I had a situation like that with an attorney that we were in trial. I went to go to a trial with him. And he said, and I didn't think I was going to have a major part in the trial. The night before, he's like, oh, why don't you do this, radiologist? Why don't you do this? And he'd just give me an assignment. So you handle this.
Yeah.
And I'd stay up the night being prepared because I over prepare for things. Yes. But it made me get up in front of people and just kind of wing it without having all of that time to self-doubt.
Yes.
You're just like in that go mode. Like either I do it right now well, or I'm not going to do it.
Or it's going to blow up in my face if I don't figure it out.
And I figure it out.
Yeah. And that's what I think. And to this day, I mean, I don't know if there's ever going to be a time that things don't stress me out.
Same, girl. Same.
Well, not only that, but I just have really bad imposter syndrome that I have to deal with every day. But, and if there is a day where I'm just like smooth sailing, that's probably when I should be worried. But even now, and my husband will say it too, because I'll be at home like, oh my God, I don't know how I'm going to do this. And he's like, listen, what was the last time you were freaking out like this? And I'll be like, oh, that case, I was freaking out about that. And he's like, and what happened? I'm like, it was fine. We settled and I was fine. And he's like, you're always fine. Why can't you figure out that you're always fine?
And you're not the only one. I get that. I think that's something, I was talking to my girlfriend who actually is a co-counsel of mine on a lot of my cases. Mm-hmm. And she, we were talking about the imposter syndrome. And we were going to talk about it. And she was like, well, she goes, I think people talk about it too much now.
Yeah.
But you know what? It's there.
It's there.
It's there. And sometimes it's there. You wonder, it's like, okay, is it because I'm still too young, not experienced enough? And then you kind of get that little voice in your head and you keep thinking, oh, how do you get rid of that? Like, and so I don't know the answer to that.
I don't know the answer, but I also, now that I've been dealing with it for so many years, I almost don't want to get rid of it. I think it's a good motivator.
That's a good point.
Yeah, because it just kind of, it forces me to make sure, I triple, quadruple check things because of it. I think if I ever got, I don't want to say it's like an ego thing. I just, I feel like that's when you start to chill and like don't worry like that, maybe your ego's getting a little too big,
That's a good point.
So and that's these old men that talk shit about us on the breaks, maybe they need to like check in with that part of them, because it, God.
It's so funny. I'm sure that we're not the only ones. I know we're not the only ones, because we hear about stories like this all the time. And it's funny because I talked to my dad. My dad's like one of my best friends. Mm-hmm. And so I spoke to him and I'm like, Daddy, I had this hard day and so forth. And it's because I'm a girl. And he's like old school. Mm-hmm. Right. And so he doesn't see that. He was like, come on, Chris. He goes, I could believe if you're like in the 1920s and you're a lawyer, but now today in 2025. And I'm like, are you for real?
Yeah.
I'm like, do you not?
It's still happening. Like, it doesn't have to be the 1920s.
It's not. I mean, it's not as frequent, thank God, but it still happens.
It's getting better. And hopefully, I mean, my son tells me he wants to be an attorney. And I'm like,
so cute. My kids have said no.
Well, it's funny. We've discovered that for a long time, I think he thought I was a mechanic.
Why?
Because he would ask me what I do, and I'm like, well, when people get in car accidents, I help them fix their cars and stuff, and I help them go to doctors. So he was like, oh, you work at the place where they fix the cars? And I'm like, oh no, nope, I'm not a mechanic. But then so now he says he wants to be a lawyer, and I'm like, why? What do you think I do all day? And he's like, well, you talk to people on the phone and you help them. And I'm like, but I fight with people sometimes. Are you gonna be able to do that? And he's like, yeah, I'm into it. It's fine. But I hope when he gets there, he's 8. Hopefully it's a different world for him. Maybe he won't have to. Maybe the girls at his age won't have to deal with what we're dealing with. But
well, I mean, it's gotten better for sure.
It's definitely gotten better.
But there's there's definitely an undertone. I quickly corrected my dad. I'm like, hey, you have no idea.
Yeah, it's still
half the time people think my husband owns a firm.
Yeah,
because or that my husband's last name is Perez, or that I slept my way to the top.
I remember, or
something like I get all these crazy things.
One of my earlier calls, because I used to, when I started my office, it was literally me in it was smaller than here. I was like in a coat closet. And it was just me, and I would pick up my own phone and pretend I wasn't the attorney and then transfer it to myself. So I'm like, what idiot attorney picks up their own phone calls?
I love that. I pick up my own phone calls.
I mean, when I realized, I
can't say that I have the 2 receptionists now, but
now I have an assistant who picks up the phones for me. But even giving that up, I was like, wow, somebody can do that for me. That's crazy. But
as you grow, you have to learn to let go of control. So much.
Hard.
It's hard.
It's
really hard. And that's good that you've now gone to the next level. And now I know you have your assistant, and I think she's great and she's wonderful.
Well, I've got the assistant, and then I've got 3 paralegals now, and it's crazy. I can't believe that
that's awesome.
It's gotten here. And actually, you mentioned your dad. My dad's kind of, at least I call him my silent business partner. Because I always call him for advice, because he's been in PI, but on the other side. Yeah. And I remember in the beginning, I'd call him and be like, oh my God, Dad, I have to ask this provider for a 40% discount. He's like, do it. And I'm like, don't you, like, I feel so bad. And to this day, I'll call providers sometimes myself to ask them for bigger ones. I'm like, I'm so sorry. This case just went south. And they're like, you're calling me for a reduction. My dad's like, you're crazy. That's not how, like, attorneys don't do that.
That's so cute. I think that's sweet.
And I don't want that to change.
It's service oriented.
Yeah.
And as long as you have that and you keep that in mind, I think that's one of the biggest pillars of our firm and our growth. As long as you keep that in mind, you're going to go extremely far.
That's the hope.
There you go.
That's the hope.
Well, you've grown so much. That's good. You should be proud of yourself.
It's been crazy I couldn't, if you told law student Erica, in 2011 that this is where I'd be, she'd think you're nuts.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously, I think we need to be more, or you and I should do, like, for 2026 for the New Year's resolution, take a moment to appreciate your wins.
Yeah,
right.
For sure.
Because I'm the type of person that focuses on their losses all the time.
Oh, I do.
Right.
Yeah.
But that's what makes you learn your lesson. Right. Yeah. So it's like, I always say there's no losses, there's lessons. Even though I hate learning a new lesson, I know that we have to from time to time. But I think that for 2026, let's you and me make a resolution that we're going to be intentional about appreciating our wins
and celebrating ourselves.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. I'd agree with you on that.
And I have, I'm surrounded by my husband and my parents are like my biggest cheerleaders. So they're always doing it. They're like, you're amazing. What are you talking about? You're the best lawyer we know.
There you go.
I'm like, stop. You guys are nuts.
They're a little, I'm sure they're a little biased, but take it. Here, cheers to us.
Cheers to loving ourselves.
There you go. 2026.
For sure.
Ugh. Well, we have gotten to the point.
Yes.
Where that you're going to have to answer rapid fire questions.
Okay. I'm okay with this.
Don't think too much about it.
Okay.
Don't think too much about it. Just answer. So I had these cool cards, by the way, that I've misplaced. I had these cool cards that had the logo on the back that someone had them made for me. So you look
like a TV presenter?
Yeah. I thought it would be professional, and I've lost them. So I haven't lost them. I've misplaced them. I'm looking back there because she's the one that got them made for me. Okay. Are you more prepared or lucky?
Lucky. No, okay. I know this is supposed to be rapid fire. I am very overly prepared too. And I think that's the ADHD brain of mine that, like, I have to, which doesn't make sense because ADHD means like you're not organized. I am, but like, I have ADHD, I'm sure. It's crazy. I've been on a mental health journey. This summer I found out I have ADHD, and it's like opened up I'm like, oh my God, it makes so much sense now. It's crazy. And it doesn't mean, it's just a way of doing things.
You think differently.
Yeah, I think differently. My therapist says that people with ADHD have the most interesting brains because we have to kind of fight things that others don't to get somewhere. But yeah, okay. So rapid fire, lucky. Let's go with lucky.
What is your most useful strength?
I'm able to kind of reason my way through things. I don't act impulsively, I don't think. And I'm able to accomplish things, I think. I always say that my family thinks that I'm like the Michael Corleone of our family because everyone comes to me with their problems. I'm like, okay, I'll make the phone call, I'll figure it out. But just like being able to just figure things out.
I think that's just being the child of immigrant parents.
That and being the attorney and just everyone's like, can you write this letter for me? Can you make this phone call? And I'm like, you guys can talk to people. And they're like, no, not like you.
I always get the, let me ask you for a favor. Like, yes. I know it's coming.
I know.
I know what's coming.
Yes.
It's me doing work for free.
Yep. Pretty much.
What makes you instantly like someone?
Being able to just not having an ego, like seeing them not come to me with an ego. I think when people come with an ego, it just makes me nervous because I'm like, why do you why do you think of yourself like this? You're not better than me. And it just sours the whole, interaction.
What sacrifice was worth it?
What sacrifice was worth it? Well, I think when the office started, I remember I found it the other day. We were going through, I was organizing our old office and I found my old whiteboard where I only had 10 cases, but I was so proud of those 10 cases and I wrote them all out and I had my deadlines and I'm like, here they are. And I just think back to like how tough of a time that was. And I would overdraft my account all the time because like,
not your IOTA though. Don't
No, not my IOTA.
Okay.
Was not IOTA with my IOTA. No. No. But
IOTA accounts, for those who are listening and don't know, are special accounts that are monitored by the state bar, and those are never to be overdrafted.
No. And actually I heard a story recently where an attorney's check to a provider got like bounced. Ooh. And that's crazy to me. Like
it gets triggered.
Yeah.
Immediately. Yeah.
So no, I did not do that with my IOTA, but just looking back and remembering like how tough of a time that was, but that was worth to get where I am today,
What drains you on even good days?
What drains me? Just a heavy day.
Yeah.
I think, lots of phone calls, just a lot of work. Plus, again, going back to the ADHD brain, it does take me a lot to just kind of focus myself. Mm-hmm. So sometimes I'll come home and our therapist, we're a big therapy family. I have a therapist, my husband has a therapist, my son has a therapist, but our therapist is always explaining to my husband, like, you need to give her an hour to just not talk to anybody. Like,
I'll take an hour.
Right. Or just give me 20 minutes, but I just need to come home and sit on the couch because that day has just drained me. And I just I don't want to talk to you. I don't want to look at you. I just want to doom scroll on my phone and just not do anything. But just tough days drain me.
So, and the opposite, then what motivates you in a day?
When I get a really good result for a client, I just it just peps me up and I'll run down the office and I'll tell everyone, I'm like, can you believe what the settlement I just got? This is crazy. And that, yeah. You
know what? I still do that to this day. Sometimes I'm like, what?
It's such a rush.
How in the world did we pull that one off?
I know.
All right. Coming to an end.
Yes.
What advice changed your life?
What advice changed my life? Just, I think having my dad in those beginning days of the business starting and mentors, just everybody being like, just do it, just try. If you fall on your face, we're here. That was always the big things my parents said to me is, if you fall on your face, we're here to help you, but just try.
Okay.
And I think that would push me to get over my fear and get through it. And that was very helpful. So.
And last question.
Yes.
What do you see for yourself or want for yourself in 2026?
Just to keep growing. I think our conversation on the phone the other day was about, marketing. Because I can kind of start playing with marketing, but I don't want to, just throw money away at Google ads. I don't know if those are going to work. So just figuring out what's going to work and just to keep growing. I have a goal to, I'm still small. So to me, 10 to 20 new cases a month is crazy. And that's amazing, and that's what I want for now. And I have to recognize my abilities too. So I don't say that I want more than that, but I want to get to the point where I can have more than that.
Nice.
So,
well, here's to 2026.
Thank you. Yes.
And
can't believe it's happening already.
I know.
It's crazy.
December hectic.
We have at school every day, he has to have a new costume and new activity.
Christmas spirit week. I know.
On December 1st, a calendar came home and I was like, why? So,
it just gets worse. Well, I want to thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
And for everyone, thank you for watching. Thank you for taking time to hear us out. And until next time, this is Verdicts Vogue. Thank you.